appear here. Okay? It's going to appear here. Now, our topic for today. Now, just in case you're wondering, so what is the topic for today? This is it. The covenant faithfulness is marked by identification with God. A covenant that is faithful is marked by or with identification with God. Like I said, are you familiar these days? You see people, and until they tell you they are Christians, you can never know they are Christians. Omuntu omulaba nga bagamba nti awo wa mulokole, naye kuleka nga bamaze kugamba nti awo wa mulokole, you cannot tell if that's true. That's true about it. In Genesis chapter 17, God has already entered a covenant with Abraham. Did you note that it is in chapter 12, God is promising land, is promising this. In chapter 17, I want you to pay attention. Abraham is still a foreigner, a stranger. He has not been given any of those promises. But part of the blessing has come. He's a wealthy man. In chapter 15 we saw he had trained army. Who remembers the number of soldiers he had? 318. Well-trained army, military guys. So he's a wealthy guy. Okay? But the promises of a heir is not yet given. The promise of land is not yet. Do you know where we find that? Because you might think, Abraham is living in his promises. No. In chapter 17, verse 1, he says, I will give you land where you will, where is that verse? Where it talks about him having land. Where I will be trying to look for that verse. In the first verses. Behold, the covenant with you shall be multitude, you no longer. I will bless you, as verse 6. Seeding the fruitful. The blessing in verse 7, the promise is, I will establish my covenant between you and your offspring. And in verse 8, I will give you and your offspring after you land. So you can see in verse 8, Tebanamuataka. He is still a stranger. Okay? The promise is not yet given, fulfilled yet. Okay? Now, before God fulfills the promise of the heir, and the land, and the nations, God is going to give instructions. In verse number 9. And God said to Abraham, as for you, you shall keep my covenant, and your offspring after you throughout their generations. And he tells them, this is my covenant, which you shall keep between me and you and your offspring. Every male among you shall be what? Circumcised. Every male among them shall be circumcised. Now, why is God bringing in circumcision? It is clear here. Every male. He actually gives, let's read that verse properly. In verse, he says, verse 10, this is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your offspring after you. Every male among you shall be circumcised. You shall be circumcised of your flesh, of your foreskin, and it shall be a sign of my covenant between me and you. And he who is 80 days, these are details of the covenant. Even the 8-day boy will be circumcised. Note here, Abraham has how many children? at this age? Only one. What is his name? Ishmael. But Abraham has people. So, a lot of people think, oh, the circumcision here is the salvation thing. If it was the salvation thing, then it should have been limited to Abraham. Because it's the guy we know is right, or righteous before God. But now it's being extended to the people here. What the lesson here, I put here, the lesson here is very clear. Saving faith is never invisible. It produces life of obedience and unwavering trust to God, and we will see this. Now, in the interest of time, let us mark these 3 points. What does it mean? Like I said, it is marked, a good covenant of faithfulness between you and your God is marked by identifying or identification with God. What does that mean? So I have 3 points to unpack that. Point number 1 is here. People who are involved in that covenant of faithfulness, they obediently identify themselves with God. Obediently is the key word there. Identify themselves with God. From verse 9 to verse 14, we read properly. He's talking about a sign. You shall keep my command or my covenant. It's the word here. Before God speaks about circumcision, he actually speaks. My laptop is restarting. He is going to talk about circumcision. Circumcision, it is a sign. They were to cut, okukomola mu Luganda, they were to cut that foreskin, okukomola. The Muslims call it okutayira. In fact, the Muslims take it from this part of the history, that everyone must be circumcised. This is why they get it. And they are still running with it. They are still running with it. But the idea here is not the physical cleanliness. Like I said, God is looking for a way to bring Abraham to be able to identify himself with God. God is marking his own people. And the sign he's using in the Old Testament, especially with Abraham, it is called circumcision. Why? Why? I told you soldiers, you can see soldiers with a uniform. But it's in Uganda these days. You see someone wearing a military, I've seen guys who are wearing military uniforms. Have you seen them? They are not soldiers. Have you seen them? Yeah, celebrities, they wear them. What I know there is a new law now, we've seen people who really publicly wear them. And they are free. Okay, you would say Uganda. Go to other countries, they wear them. Let's talk about the ring. I don't have one. Mine got one now. Okay? And I go to places and I have to keep telling them, or introducing myself, I am married. Some of you, how many of you have rings here? Ben, are you married yet, or you have a wife but you don't have a ring? I know you, but you don't have a ring. I don't have a ring. Only Kathy has a ring. Do you have a ring today, or you don't have a ring? Yeah. Does it mean we are not married? Answer me. Does it mean we are not married? No. Huh? It doesn't mean so. Have you seen people who are not married? It's just today that I'm not seeing Ibra with a ring. Sometimes I see him with a ring. I don't know. Those who see Ibra with a ring, they might think Ibra is a what? Married. He's married. So with or without, it doesn't matter. What matters is the inside, the inner, what's the word there? What matters is what has happened from the inside of you. Like I said, the Seventh-day Adventists, they don't believe in the rings. So you will find, you go to their church and you think they are all singles and bachelors. They don't wear rings. It doesn't mean that wearing something is equal to faith. So, I say they obediently identify themselves with God. And so what does it mean to identify? How do we this in Abraham's story. God requires a visible mark. Visible. Circumcise your male people in your house. Now, this doesn't have to do with your children. No, I am talking about your people. Those you have given birth to, but also those that you have bought with your own what? Money from the foreign places. Circumcision became a visible sign that Abraham belonged to God. It did not save him, it only identified him. You know what saved Abraham? What saved Abraham? What saved Abraham? Faith. Faith saved Abraham. It was not a circumcision. Okay? What I know, and I hear people pursue circumcision as a way of making us appear like we are real godly people. That doesn't mean that. Okay? It only identified him. Not, he received it, Abraham and Ishmael. He circumcised himself that day. In fact, when you read the passage downward, you will see that Abraham acted that very day. And he circumcised himself and his son and every male eyali mu nyumba ye. Eyali mu nyumba ye. Okay?